British Prime Minister Liz Truss is officially the shortest-serving Prime Minister in UK history, resigning today, just 6 weeks into office. Her 44-day tenure was marred with economic and political chaos after she proposed massive tax cuts that sent the British pound tumbling. The Conservative Party will hold a leadership contest again to determine who will take Truss's position as head of the party and by default become the next Prime Minister. The candidate favored to succeed Truss for now is the former Chancellor Rishi Sunak, who was the runner-up in the last leadership race this summer. Some in Parliament, though, are even calling for Truss's predecessor, Boris Johnson, to return to 10 Downing, despite the wave of scandals that essentially led to his own resignation. Joined now by Sky News' deputy political editor, Sam Coates. And Sam, I want to get down to brass tacks here. Number one, how quickly is this election campaign to take over the Conservative Party inside? How long is that going to take to come together? And how soon do the voters in the Conservative Party weigh in?
So Liz Truss resigned this morning. We could have a new British Prime Minister. We will have a new British Prime Minister at the very latest by next Friday. I mean, it's quite an incredible system.
How?
But the Conservative Party today announced that the procedure for replacing Liz Truss has been basically squeezed. There is going to be 3 days allowing 3 or 4 days in which MPs get together in order to work out who the remaining last 2 candidates should be in the process. And then there will be a 3 or 4 day online ballot of Conservative Party members, the 150,000 or so paying party members up and down the country. And that will resolve who is our next Prime Minister, unless there is only one candidate in the final round, in which case we might know as early as Monday or Tuesday who the United Kingdom's next Prime Minister is.
What's the likelihood that there's an agreement only to put up one candidate and sort of save the party from a contentious primary?
Well, there was immediate talk upon Liz Truss's resignation of the need for a unity candidate. But I have to say, almost immediately after that, the entire Conservative Party descended into arguing and infighting with a whole array of candidates, attacking one another and proxies for them, slugging it out on the airwaves here on Sky News and elsewhere. There is no sign of unity anywhere. There is the runner-up in the last contest. You mentioned Rishi Sunak. He's the former Chancellor. He is liked by quite a lot of Conservative MPs, but he has his own issues. He was seen as bringing down Boris Johnson. A string of other lesser-known Conservatives also vying for the post. But we do have this issue, whether or not Boris Johnson might make a comeback.
So when you ask about America's political dysfunction, many people will say it started on June 11th, 2015, when Donald Trump rode down an escalator. Everything changed. Do we trace this dysfunction in Parliament in the UK and in the Tories from the decision by former Prime Minister Cameron to create a Brexit referendum? I mean, has that basically been was that the patient zero of this dysfunction?
So I think at the very latest it was 2016, June 2016, that Brexit referendum, which unleashed all sorts of tensions inside the Conservative Party, inside Parliament and inside the nation, that has basically thrown politics to kilter. I'd actually put it even earlier than that. In 2014, we had an incredibly divisive referendum over whether or not to make Scotland an independent country and split off from the rest of the United Kingdom. That set the precedent for the kind of warring that you were getting between different parts of the nations, usually united by political parties, but these referendum pulling apart the political parties themselves, causing all that turmoil.
I assume the next Prime Minister is not going to call a snap election, that they're basically going to play this out until they have to. When is that have to? Can you refresh my American memory here on when is your next mandatory general election?
So the Conservative Party are roughly 30 points behind in the polls. So it would be effectively political suicide for the party to go to the polls anytime soon. The last date will be basically 2025, January 2025. We expect the next election probably to be in 2024. That's when the sort of bookies would expect it to be. But it's a long way to go until the Conservatives are fighting fit for an election campaign. It's going to be very tough for the next leader of the party.
Man, a lot of Western democracies and Western media are going to struggle if both the UK and America are dealing with major national elections in 2024. Sam, your job gets more complicated, just like ours does over here. Sam Coates from Sky News, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.